Brought to you by Penguin.
Give it a grow. Simple projects to nurture food, flowers, and wildlife in any outdoor space. Written and read by me, Martha Swales. To my mum for giving me the gift of gardening and all that comes with it. Chapter 1. An Introduction. 12 years ago, on the first sunny day of the year, I found myself at Kew Gardens. As a child, I'd been before, but this was the first time I'd been there of my own volition. At the end of the afternoon, I arrived in the shop and stood transfixed in front of a huge wall of seed packets, full of potential. I picked 5 or 6 packets more or less at random. Off I went back home to sow them, the small beginnings of what would grow into an all-consuming obsession. I've always been prone to great enthusiasm for new hobbies, and having sown my aubergine seeds and carefully placed them near the radiator, I would often sit on the floor next to them, constantly checking for signs of life. Once my seedlings raised their delicate heads above the soil, the next task was to find a home for the new lives I had ushered into being. My mum has a beautiful garden, which she has been tending with great skill and patience for over 40 years. My new obsession with vegetables and her carefully landscaped and masterfully planted garden were not immediately happy bedfellows. I started with pots on the sunny deck, grow bags, old crates lined with plastic bags, anything and everything I could find to grow food in. After running out of space on the deck, I began to spread further afield, putting large grow bags directly on top of my mum's lawn. That summer, I harvested wonky broccoli, sunshine yellow patty pans, knobbly, thick-skinned cucumbers, and one very small, beautifully glossy black aubergine. Her hand having been forced, the following year, my mum dug up the dismal remains of her lawn and replaced it with the most beautiful flowers. Tall trumpets of nicotiana, the heady scent of valerian, elegant stems of verbena bonariensis, and the vibrant pink Catherine wheel faces of red campion, all of which still grace the garden every year over a decade later. Few things in my life have changed it as much as those seed packets from Kew Gardens' shop. Growing food is not just about harvests, although they are of course nice. The seeds grew into an enduring fascination with watching life unfold as the seasons roll by. The unpredictable turns of weather, sunshine, rain, drought, cold, with a million tiny dramas being played out by ants and leather jackets, worms and tadpoles, birds and bees. It's accurate to say I became truly obsessed, and rapidly the space afforded to me in my parents' garden was no longer enough for the grand plans forming in my head. And so it was that I got my first allotment at the age of 23, a sprawling, overgrown plot on the outskirts of London. In my 20s, I moved house half a dozen times, but wherever I was, I would make the pilgrimage to my allotment to battle weeds and grow food, and every spring there would be new grand plans. Always comfortable with verging on the eccentric, I kept the key on a string around my neck and would tell anyone who would listen all about growing food. In the office, I was caught on more than one occasion shopping online for seeds when I was supposed to be working. As I've grown older, my single-minded obsession with growing food has broadened into a greater appreciation of all plants, and these days a new flower opening its petals in my garden, bringing with it pale pinks or yellows, bright orange, deep purple, heady scents and hoverflies, elicits a childlike joy in me. Perhaps my favourite thing of all is watching my little mistakes and oversights tell their own story. Whether it's a weed I've left untouched blooming into a lacy white umbellifer, or the seeds fallen from my bird feeders erupting into bright yellow rapeseed alive with bees. For me, growing food was just the gateway to what I now know will be a lifelong relationship with gardening. In spite of how much I love it, I understand what it's like to not always have the time to garden, to feel overwhelmed by the seasons, to fall behind, to neglect plants and find your plot overgrown with weeds and eaten to bits. Gardening is my passion, not my job, and like all things we choose to do, it often has to make way for the many things we have to do. 2 years ago, I was finally lucky enough to get my own little garden in London. In it, I grow food, of course, but I also wanted a place for nature, to grow flowers, to have space to sit and enjoy it all. Somewhere to be a playground for projects, a living lab for my many experiments. It was also important.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?